listen, never in my life associated the word boring with baseball.
We know what's up.
Me? Yeah. Famous? Yeah.
And I'm like giddy over there smiling like, we're about to win this shit.
Did everyone give you crap? Give me a good host story.
I'm not picking it up.
We both love the game.
We talk about it every day.
Getting on baseball.
Having some popcorn, you're fooling around your phone.
I'd have to wait in line for 3 hours.
Hang on, because it's about to be a wild ride.
All right, there is absolutely no human being on the planet I would rather be talking to more than Paul Toboni. Thank you, my friend. It's always good to see your smiling face.
Yeah. No, good seeing you as well. That's a lie, by the way. There's no way I'm number one, but that's all right.
You are absolutely number one. And I do like, here's the thing, Paul, is that I do like you are such a good human being. And I know this because when you walk out into the public eye, people look forward to seeing you. I'm not building you up.
No, thanks for saying that. I don't know. I don't know if
you don't know how to respond. It's okay.
Listen,
I think it's important to start a day with a compliment, and especially when it's deserved. So, congratulations on everything. And I guess my first thing, Paul, is it's a really cliche question, man. Like getting your new job, it's a lot, right? It's a lot of stuff. And that's why I really appreciate you taking the time here. But what was this being a lot? Is it what you thought it would be? Like, you've been around baseball, you've been around front offices, you've been at the highest level of front offices and everything else, but building what you want to build on top of doing the job, is it what you thought it would be?
I think so. Yeah. I mean, there are subtle differences, but for the most part, I think it's what I thought it would be. And I don't think it's a mystery. Like, these jobs are pretty demanding. You know what I mean? Maybe if anything, I think you're, dragged in is probably the wrong way to put it, but you have more obligations outside of like the baseball obligations that maybe I didn't quite empathize with enough. But that's all part of it. You know what I mean? And the baseball side, obviously it takes priority, and that's where 90% of your time is spent. But at the same time, like the remaining 10 or 20% doing the non-baseball stuff, like it's really important. And I think if we want to build the organization that we want to build here, you got to be committed to it, and you got to work well in all those other areas. And so, but all in all, I think it's largely been aligned with what my expectations were coming into it.
It's funny you say that. When you're talking, I'm thinking about a conversation I had with Kevin Cash, and obviously a manager position's different. But I said, okay, what's the toughest thing about being a manager when you first start out? And he's like, the media responsibilities, the other stuff, right? This stuff. So I apologize. Yeah.
And that, the manager position is a completely different ballgame, right? If you go and count them, they probably are in front of the media upwards of 400 times a year, right? If you think about all the post-game pressers they have, off-season responsibilities, oftentimes pre-game, it's a lot, you know what I mean? And I don't think maybe the public realizes it when they think about what you are looking for in a manager. And not to say we over-index for it either, but it's a huge part of the job being in front of the media, right? And I think for kids or college students or pro players or whoever it is that aspires to be a manager, I'm not sure that's the first thing that comes to mind. You know what I mean? But it's a big part of it.
Well, and you go to, let's talk about when you hired Blake Butera. I don't know. The interview process for a manager fascinates me. I think I may have talked to you about that. Speaking of Kevin, it all comes back to Kevin Cash. Congratulations, Kevin. But I always cite the 6-hour interview that they did, the Cleveland at the time, I think, did for Kevin when he was to prepare him for the interview. When you went into the interview with Drew and other candidates, how much of it was the other stuff that maybe isn't okay, what do you do here, second and third? How much of the other stuff is, because like you said, you have to have a guy who understands that and also can handle that stuff.
Yeah, I would actually, everyone views this differently, I think, but I would actually argue that more than 50% of the process of selecting whoever it is that you select, like it has to do with the quality of person they are and the quality of leader they are, right? The all the in-game strategy, and I know there's a lot of attention paid to that. It's so important. Don't get me wrong, right? But nowadays I think we have like there's so much information, right? Like we just have a lot of tools that we can put together to help support these guys in their positions. And not only that, like we can support them with other people on the bench too, right? So our bench coach, Michael Johns, has been around the game for a long period of time, right? And he can help Blake in that respect. And but it goes back to what I initially said. Like part of the reason why we were so drawn to Blake was the fact that he is an unbelievable person. He's commanded the respect of so many people in the game, so many different types of people from different types of backgrounds too. You talk about like the young 22-year-old analyst that's a whiz kid, right? And then the 75-year-old coach that's been in the game for 50 years. Like Blake has great relationships with all those people, right? And he's just got a really uncanny ability to connect with folks and then to hold a high standard and to hold people accountable to that standard. So, and then goes without saying, like he comes from a baseball family, and his dad was a longtime coach, or is a longtime coach in Louisiana. I love talking the game with him. I think he sees the game really, really well, and I think I don't know how this is going to go in future years, right? But there might be a little bit of talk, right? Like, oh, we took this front office guy and placed him in the dugout. Like, that's not what happened, right? Like, there was a guy that belongs in the dugout that was exposed to the front office, but his home is in the dugout. You know what I mean? And so we're really excited to have him on board, and the excitement I have for it, like I think it's probably outpaced by the excitement that the player group has for him, the rest of the coaching staff, the rest of the organization. So we're thrilled to have him on board.
And you got me pumped up to have the. And I can, if I said Drew, I apologize to Butera.
No worries.
I can't remember. Can't keep my mind straight. But you got me pumped up. It's good because and I think that you talking and Blake talking and all the people in the organization I hear talking for the Nationals, it's been well documented how young everybody is. Fine. But I think there's something to be said for the enthusiasm. And remember, and as I'm going through sort of the list of people who you have brought in, yourself, your manager, and everybody else in the front office, I thought of a conversation I just had with Josh Burns. And I don't know if you know where I'm going with this, but when Josh was early on, like that front office was crazy young. The Theo front office, remember, Theo, 28 and everything else. And I'm not saying it's apples to apples, but the enthusiasm and the energy and the ideas and all of that, that's what I remember. And I don't know, like if you're waking up with that sort of, let's go. I mean, I know it's not, the transaction log isn't long, but still there must be like this element of let's go, in that front office right now.
Yeah, absolutely. And I haven't talked with Theo about this, but my guess is if I asked Theo, he would say, hey, we were just looking for the best people, right? And the best people just happen to be on the younger side, right? As you talk about those folks that were in that front office. But for us, like it would be the same, right? Like we're just looking for the best people, right? And forget age. Like we're looking for the best people that fit the values that we want. And man, like it speaks to what you were just talking about. One of those values is having fun, right? We want to be around people that have fun. It sounds cliche, but it's the truth. Like we are so fortunate to work in the game. You know what I mean? And if you're like holed up in your office, not having fun, the years are going to go by pretty quick. And I think you're going to look back on it like, what was I doing? Right. So, we want to staff our, major league staff, front office, coaching group, R&D group, all the acquisition spaces. Like we want to staff out with people. I say it all the time that add energy into the room that they're walking into. You know what I mean? Like I'm sure, Rob, you've been around the guy, right? And I say this all the time that you walk into the room where that person walks into the room and the whole energy level just comes down. Like I'm not afraid to say it. Like we don't want those people in our organization. We want the opposite. And I think, if you outfit the group with enough of those people, that are aligned on the values that we hold sacred. I think there's huge power to that. And oftentimes, I think a lot about the Oklahoma City Thunder, and people here are probably like driven nuts by how much I talk about them. But you
Sam
go back
Presti,
and look.
right? Sam Presti, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Sam, I think, has done an unbelievable job where if you go back and look at their press conferences like in 2020, in 2021, this is before they got like really, really good, right? They're talking about all these values and they're living them out and they're really emphasizing them. And then, I think that foundation is in place. And then they strategically make some great decisions in the front office. They're staffed out with a bunch of great coaches, and eventually great players. And now they're just a complete monster. And I don't think they're showing any signs of slowing down.
It's that comes back to what I said, and I meant it. Like when I could tell every time I saw you, the enthusiasm, how much you appreciated stepping on the baseball field, talking about baseball. And you're right. I mean, you want to be around those people, and to come back to that front office with Theo. It was, and one of the things that Josh said is like we had a sign on our door that said we don't know shit, right? Like that's the thing. But the finding out like actually what you want to know and understanding that and then going forward every day and trying to solve those problems and all of that. Anyway, it's just my way of saying you got me fired up. So there's thank you. I will say this that it is a daunting thing, man. Like and also in this off seasons aren't like they used to be 10 years ago, 7 years ago, 5 years ago. It will not like, I don't even think like last year. It's more drawn out. You got to be more patient. You have to read the room. You have to, and by the way, you're doing this. You're trying to be patient. You're trying to read what's going on in the off season and why building everything else. Talked a little bit about that dynamic about how the rhythms of this offseason has been challenging from your seat, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, your line about patience is right on the money. And I would say that, like, scaled across the whole organization, our whole strategy, right? Like, if you look around you look around the league, the best organizations in baseball, in my opinion, have done a really good job with patience and playing the long game in many ways, right? Where, listen, like, if you are, we're constantly going to be tempted to, I say it, put in the windows and the doors before the foundation is strong, right? But if you do that, you're going to look up a year or two down the line and say, like, gosh, why did we do that? You know what I mean? It was this short-sighted move that set us back a year, 2 years, 3 years. So we really, in all facets of the organization, we want to be pointing towards setting a really strong foundation. Then when the time is right, let's put in the windows and the doors and really make this a special place. You know what I mean? But going back to what you're saying, this offseason and how it relates to strategy in the offseason, I don't think we can put pressure on ourselves like, hey, we have to trade a player or we don't have to trade a player, whatever it might be. I think we should just, look at this empirically and say like, hey, what is a return for a particular player that makes a lot of sense for us, right? And if we have conversations and the team's willing to meet that bar that we've set, great. And if they don't, also great. You know what I mean? But we're not going to stress over it, and we're going to be patient and disciplined. And I think over the long run, if we just have that mindset, we're going to be just fine.
I mean, I think on the major league level, you have a really interesting group and one which I think can surprise a lot of people and compete and everything else. So you look at different ways of doing it. Yeah, you want your people in there, your players in there that you like, but you have good players already. You could do like what Peter Bendix did. Good for him, man. Like it's working out, but it's been a couple years of tearing it down and then building it back up. For you, when you look at this roster about your organization right now, how do you view it? How do you view it in terms of the balancing that about, I think we can be pretty good, but I also don't want to be misled in terms of the here and the now.
Yeah, I mean, I'll start off with just the fact, right? Like we lost 96 games last year, right? And I think that was the third highest loss total. But I think if you look at our run differential, like it was maybe even worse, right? So that's basically the baseline that we're working off of, and that's all right. Like let's be honest with that, right? On the flip side, in my opinion, we have a ton of really talented young players, right? That I think can be even better, right? So our concern isn't like, hey, okay, we lost 96 games last year, we won 66 games. Like okay, let's go out and win 88 games this year. Like, I don't think it makes a ton of sense to put a ton of pressure on ourselves. Like, we got to get to this win total in this year right now. I think if we just first of all just set a culture that we're proud of and hold ourselves to that standard, I think that's step one, right? But then two, I think if we start going about things the right way as it relates to the development of our players, acquiring the right players, having like the our long-term strategy aligned across all our groups, there will be incremental progress that at no point in time are we going to say in the next like 2 years, like, boom, that was the moment where we really like did it, right? But the hope is that we look up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years down the line, we're like, man, we're getting better and better and better. And kind of a weird way to say it, but like more organizationally healthy, like with every passing 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, year. And then the goal is we look up at the end of however many years and we're like, okay, this is a really healthy organization that has a chance to win for a long period of time.
This is an unfair question, but with whatever 3 weeks to go to spring training, and we talk about the rhythms of the offseason, do you think that you don't know, but do you think that you might be making moves? I know that's such a sorry, it's a cliche question,
No.
but there's a lot of things that everybody knows you guys can do, right? There's contracts, there's good players, there's everything. There's a lot of things that you could do, and you're trying to play the rhythms of the offseason. Your guess leading into spring training, do you feel like your transaction log is going to be thicker than certainly it is now?
So I'm gonna have to unpack this a little bit after I give you the response. My answer is yes, but like when I hear that, I'm thinking like, hey, are you going to be active on waivers and minor league free agency and that type thing? My guess is that's not what you're getting at, right?
Yeah, with
My
all due respect to Mickey Gasper, excellent pickup. Yes, yes, yes.
uh, Yeah. So yeah, my guess is you're talking about kind of the bigger names that are in the media a ton. I'll just I'll say it like and I had this conversation with MacKenzie a few weeks back. Like, yeah, is there a chance that MacKenzie gets traded? Like, yeah. But I'll tell you exactly what I told him. Like, we're going to hold a really high bar, and if a team meets it, a team meets it. Now, like, a team hasn't met it to this point in the offseason, right? Could other teams' behavior change between now and the start of spring training? Like, yeah, that's a possibility, right? And my approach on this is like, instead of trying to like tiptoe around that fact, I think you just acknowledge it and acknowledge that like, hey, that's really how every organization works, right? And if I'm a Nats fan, like, and I'm smart enough to realize like, hey, this is a possibility that we trade MacKenzie, it kind of just sounds like artificial and misleading if you say like, oh, there's not a chance, or there is like no, let's just be honest about it. Like, there is a chance, right? But at the same time, we are 100% excited and comfortable rolling into the year with MacKenzie because he's an awesome player and he's going to make our team better in 2026 and maybe beyond. So that's the reality of it all. And honestly, like, if I could just copy and paste that response to like all future trade candidates, I probably would, because that's going to be our approach every offseason.
Well, see, this is why you're good, because I was dancing around it and you just directly answered it. So thank you. But I guess what I would say is I bet MacKenzie appreciated that. I mean, I remember talking to, was it Sonny Gray, and he went up to David Force at one point and said, "Hey, what's the deal?" And David told him, and like, I think that's an underrated thing. Like, I think it's important to just be honest communication, and I bet he appreciated it, was what I'm saying, right?
Yeah, he said he did. And like, it's a no-brainer, right? Because I mean, why either way, he's going to be like thinking in his mind, he's probably going to be reading what's out in the public, and some of it might be true, some of it might not be true. Like, why not hear it from me and just be honest about it? And that way too, like, if he's not traded, right, we get there first day of spring training and he's like, man, I really appreciate like how you handled that, because you told me the truth, and it'll be the truth whatever way it goes, right? If he is traded, isn't traded, I think folks like and players specifically, I think like honest feedback, right? Whether it's like, hey, what they're working on developmentally, trade scenario, whatever it might be, like they don't like being lied to or they don't like being kept in the dark. And so I think one of the things we're going to I know one of the things we're going to pride ourselves on as a staff and a front office is being really honest and communicative with our players. So they're not left in the dark in ways that maybe certain players have, not necessarily in the Nats organization, but across baseball over the last 10, 15, 20 years.
Two last things. I really appreciate your time. The last one's going to be about where you think people should go for the Super Bowl because, like, I don't know, like in your backyard, right? The Super Bowl this year. Yeah.
Yeah, kind of my backyard. I probably shouldn't say this, but I'm still a little bitter about the move from Candlestick. But
Ooh.
I'm from San Francisco, and so
Okay.
Niners are obviously down in Santa Clara now. Bummed they're not going to be playing in it. They had the easy path to doing so, but that's all right.
Before we get to like the place to go, you're one place. Like even though you want it to be next to Candlestick, it's not. We are here to help people in all sports. How you've brought people in from a familiarity from your organization. You've also brought players in. So I'm anxious to see how that works. I mentioned Mickey Gasper. Obviously, you had Mickey Gasper, the Red Sox. Perales. Obviously, you have Perales. Is there a guy when you take over? Are there guys who you say, if I get a chance, I'm going to? I like this guy. I've always liked this guy. I'm not necessarily always going to be able to get that guy, but I'm going to explore getting that guy. In other words, the familiarity of some of the players that you've acquired, for a person in your seat, like what's that dynamic like? And is that like something that you knew that this was going to happen when you took the job?
No, I don't think so. Like, I mean, obviously, I love, for instance, a number of players in the Red Sox organization, right? I would love to trade for him, right? The bottom line is it's really, really challenging to line up, and I think it's become more challenging, like in recent years. And so the Perales Bennett trade, like that was one where it just those prospect for prospect trades are pretty rare. And I think what makes it tough in that situation is like, hey, I obviously really like Perales. The group here really likes Perales, but so did the Red Sox. You know what I mean? And that makes it challenging. But the same goes for Bennett. You know what I mean? Like I and we loved him here. So do the Red Sox, right? And so it just takes lining up. And I've found that that's become increasingly difficult in recent years. But it's all part of it. And I think so much of lining up goes back to what we were talking about at the start, which is what we just talked about actually with players, right? And just being honest and upfront with teams about like, hey, what it's going to take. And I don't think you want to develop the reputation where like you're misleading teams, right? And then they're like, in future trade conversations, they're like, I'm not going down this path because I know we're going to be kind of drugged through the mud. Like I just I take the approach of being upfront and honest about it. And if a team's willing to meet it, great. We can do something, and if not, also great.
That is crazy. It was such a unique trade, and people say, "Oh well, like how unique is it? It's two minor leaguers. It's unique." I mean, if not to say that rankings are everything, but you have two guys who, on the outside world, are ranked very similar. You have two guys playing the same position, like all of it. It was. We're never going to see another trade like it ever again. For the Perales Bennett trade. So, yeah. So good for you. Good for you. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, well, anyway, again, give me one spot. If I was going to go to the Super Bowl, give me one spot.
Oh man, one spot. Well, if you're going to the Super Bowl, I hope you spend some time in San Francisco. And if you're in San Francisco, there's this unbelievable taco spot called Ruby's. Yeah, down by the water, down by Ocean Beach, and yeah, unbelievable spot. Food is like, I mean, it's a hidden gem in San Francisco, so I kind of feel bad saying it because all the locals there are going to be upset with me. But I mean, it's the spot. Like yeah, anyone going has to check it out.
See, but that's the whole point. I don't care about other people. I care about Rubies. I care about the owners. I want them, if they're doing good business, I want them to do even better business. So
Yeah, how I think about it is they're going to explode at some point in time, and they're already really busy. But I think Yeah, I mean, the food is just so unbelievably good. Like if anyone who listens to this goes to Ruby's, I think you'll find it out pretty quick. But it's just got a great vibe, and you're 2 blocks from the beach. Like it's a great spot.
All right, Ruby's, the official Baseballs and Boring eatery of the Super Bowl. Let
Yeah,
be
you
said
got
what
it.
Hey,
You
man,
got
I
it.
really appreciate your time. Thanks as always.